Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to another Wuthering Waves reaction. Today we have Chasing Daylight. This one was requested by quite a few people, but Raven Hitsugaya had a comment that got like over 100 likes, so I've definitely got to get to this one. Albeit apparently, according to Toasty in a reply comment, this is kind of overrated. And now I don't know who to believe. So I'm gonna listen to it and give my own opinion on the song as I always do, and I guess without further ado, I'm gonna jump right into it. So without further ado, let's go! Ooh. Okay. Ooh. Very high-end production for this one. Not saying other songs are bad, but... Woo! Oh, wait a minute. Overrated? I mean, it's early in. Ooh. Throwing some ghost notes. It's definitely playing to the drummer side of me. So far, the production is insanely tight on this one. Really, really tight. Ooh, okay, that was a change up. Didn't anticipate the like double time kind of EDM bounce there. Ooh, cheeky little solo in there too. Like, there's a lot going on in the song. The general structure of this one is very different. I like that synth in there. Woo. Jesus. Feels like an outro. Kind of a weird way to do an outro too. I've heard similar things, but the way it was just kind of like building out with that beat and then letting it trickle away into nothing was a weird choice. So I don't think overrated is the right word at all. A little busy maybe, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing to be a little bit busy. I like some of the choices done with like how they were moving around the song. The general structure, like I said, was very different, but also kind of similar to other things in the same genre space. This sort of hybridization of metal and electronic. There's only so many ways you can do that, right? So just hearing this and the way that they were approaching it was very intriguing because they kept going in and out of those genres. And it's like, okay, when's the next part going to come in and what's it going to be? Are we going to get more metal stuff? Are we going to get more of that electronic stuff? How is it going to play out? It was very intriguing in that way. And the vocalist, who's also apparently the vocalist for Mars Atlas, is yeah, totally fits. I mean, nailed it. I wouldn't be surprised if there's more to that collaboration, given the metal elements in there and the Mars Atlas sound kind of sharing a lot of inspiration there. So more than likely, if it wasn't just the producers of the songs realizing that they should put some of that in there to make it feel a little bit more at home with the vocalist, then definitely more of a collaboration than I could find. I didn't look deep into it or anything. I just looked at the credits below. So I just see the titles and names of who's attached, and I kind of have to guess what they do most of the time. But for this one, it's just really that this hybrid works, and I enjoyed that sound. And then I started to think about how the song itself almost felt so busy, it felt like there wasn't room for anything else. Like, the mix of this one started out very nice, as you probably remember me right at the beginning. I'm like, ooh, a high production value, because they came in with that high production sound, and I'm like, oh, they're like going for that like highly produced, almost like K-pop production flair, where there's just a lot of focus and effort on that side. That post-production is where they seem to focus a lot of the work. And then there was so much detail in the song, I was like, okay, now things are starting to get a little bit muddy in the mix, and it started feeling overly compressed. And by the time I was like halfway through the song, I was still vibing with a lot of what the song was doing, and I was feeling out the rhythms, and that was all neat. And I do like a lot of the choices, like I said, but it really started to fall flat on the mix a little bit. The vocalist was almost always on the top and super clear, but there was so much happening in the background and underneath all of the vocal that I was like, what is that? Like, it just kind of became this mud pit. And I talk about that a lot, what happens when they make songs like this, stuff that has so many layers that have to fight for their time to shine in the song. And when you're especially trying to mix so many genres together and so many influences, that's going to make that all the more confusing to be able to mix and get a proper sound out of. So things didn't really feel too glued together, and it really felt like the vocals just kind of sat on top of the instrumental, because the instrumental was so bogged down by everything happening all at once that there wasn't really much room to improve there. And that's kind of a bummer, because the song is pretty sick, but I also do kind of see why a sentiment like it's overrated would show up due to that sound and that overly produced sort of approach to the track. I don't think, for the record, that being overly produced is necessarily a negative thing, because that is a sound, like I said, that K-pop sort of approach to things, where that's part of the identity of what it is. K-pop as a sound is a thing, and not that this is K-pop either, I'm just using it as a comparison. That overly produced sound is part of the DNA that K-pop is, and for this and these sorts of modern approaches to like electronic metal hybrid, that's also a factor of it. It's super clean, there's a bunch of like really fine-tuned detail works in the song and in the composition itself. Everything feels very produced and very, very tight together, and they definitely had that in here, but the mix itself felt so lacking on the back end, because it just really felt like there wasn't any room to do anything else. It was just a pit of sound at a certain point. If you were to listen to this super carefully, you might be able to pick out some things in there, and there were some really cool things they were doing with synths in there too, but like, those were the outliers, those were the exceptions to everything else underneath it. There were like synths that came in for the leads and like little accent ditties that were like thrown throughout, and it's like, ooh, okay, they're doing stuff here, they're trying to be a little bit acrobatic about it, move some things around. But those, again, are the exception, while everything else supporting the song was definitely less so. It just kind of felt like it all flattened out, and it was compressed into that mud I've been talking about, where it just didn't quite feel like it was crispy enough to praise accurately, honestly. I think everything else about the song was great. The composition was fun. The structure was interesting. It was doing a lot of things where I'm like, ooh, okay, they're actually trying some new ideas out, and almost throw some curveballs at the concept of what these genres and these blends are trying to achieve, and I liked a lot of that. But the production, maybe it's just the upload itself being a little bit compressed because it's on a YouTube upload. You know how that works too. So maybe if it kept that sound that showed up right at the beginning, that like really crispy production sound all the way through, and they balanced the back end of the general bass of the song, like the kit, the guitars and everything, if those were a little bit better spaced out, a little bit more broad in the mix, I feel like panning might have been an issue for this one, just because it all felt so crushed in the center. If that was a little bit broader, I might have had a higher rating for this one, and it might have been closer to like a 9. Hey, so while editing this, I decided I think I might know something that might just help a little bit. So I just wanted to do this to show you what I was trying to talk about. There's not much to it, right? Like all I'm doing here is adding a stereo width modifier. That's it. And I'm doing it in DaVinci, which isn't even like the best stereo width option out there, but it's something. And I'm going to play them side by side, and I'll do the unedited version, then the edited version, just so you can see what I mean with like spreading it out and making it feel a little bit more alive. It's a small adjustment. And some of you, if you don't have headphones, you might not even notice, but for those who are, you'll probably hear the shine that just adding this seems to bring out of this, because again, it's just the littlest detail where I feel like it needs more room, and just adding a stereo width, literally doing nothing else, seemed to fix at least part of what I was talking about. So here's that, and then we'll get back to the regular video. It's like, it's fighting the 7. I want to say it's an 8 even with the issues, because it has so much going on that's really cool. But also because of those downsides, I've got to dock it a point. I usually don't rank things. Why am I doing that? I've talked about this before because I keep doing it recently, where I like give things a number, but it's also never an accurate rating because like I don't have any criteria for these numbers. They're completely arbitrary. So like, don't take that 7 as like, oh, okay, well that's it. That's the final say. So it's like, no, that could honestly change tomorrow. There's details about this that I would definitely give a higher rating, like I said, but for whatever reason right now, it's sitting just north of mid. So, I mean, it hurts to say that, but there are definitely parts about this song production wise that are hindering that score for me. So pretty solid. If I gave it a probably more accurately like a letter rating, I'd give it like a B, like a solid B, not a B minus, not a B plus, it's a B, you know, just right down the center. I think that's okay. But I'm going to stop yapping now. So thank you all so very much for watching. Hopefully I didn't bother too many of you by giving this one not the shiniest of reviews, but also I do like it. It's hard to get through those production things sometimes. When I hear them, they just kind of stick out like a sore thumb, and you really can't get over them a lot of the time. And this is one of those cases where like, I can see the potential. It's just not quite hitting for me for whatever reason. But I'll stop yapping there. Thank you all so very much for watching, whether you agreed with me or disagreed with me. If you have another song you want me to get to from Wuthering Waves, by all means drop it in the comments below and I will do my best as always to get to those. Or if you don't want to do any of that, maybe you just want to follow me and support me for more stuff coming in the future, you know how to do all that, and I will see all of you in the next video. Goodbye!